I was looking a little bit the parasha of next week, parasha Toldot, this coming up week, and we all know that this parasha is speaking about finally having Rivka getting pregnant of twins, and we know that those twins were very special. Like the pasuk says, "Vayitrotetzu habanim bekirba, vatomer im ken lama ze anochi." Rashi brings two perushim, but Yaakov and Esav were fighting already at the womb of their mother. According to one perush, every time that she was passing by a Bet Knesset, Yaakov was ratz, he was running to go out. And when she was passing by Avodah Zarah, Esav wanted to go out. That's one perush. Second perush that Rashi brings is that they were fighting b'shtei olamot. What's b'shtei olamot? In two worlds. Which two worlds? Who is going to get olam hazeh? Who is going to get olam hazeh? Okay? So that was the fight that Yaakov and Esav they had already at the moment of the womb. Very special twins. But Rabotai, I want to go with you to the very beginning of the parasha, when the Torah tells us that Yitzhak and Rivka both are praying to Borei Olam to have a child. The Torah says after many years, look at Rashi says that Yitzhak Avinu, right, got married to Rivka when she was 3 years old. Correct? At that age, she cannot get pregnant. So Rashi says at least 10 years until she will become 13 to be able to get pregnant. And then Yitzhak waited another 10 years. Right? So how many years he's waiting already? 20 years. Why? Because he learned from his dad, from his father, that 10 years is the amount to consider if the lady is akara bar minan or not, if she can actually bring children or not. And Rashi says, after these extra 10 years, they started to pray. But here I want to tell you something fascinating. It says like this, ויעתר יצחק להשם לנוכח אשתו, כי עקרה היא, ויעתר לו השם, ותער רבקה אשתו. In simple words, Yitzhak Avinu prayed for his wife, and Borei Olam answered Yitzhak, like Rashi writes over there, אינו דומה תפילת צדיק בן צדיק לתפילת צדיק בן רשע, so he has zechut avot. That's why Borei Olam answered to Yitzhak more than to Rivka, and beautiful, she got conceived. But what is that word vayater or vayatar? Where is this word coming from? Why does it say vayitpalel, vayvakesh? The Torah, when he chooses a specific word, he has a significance behind that word. What is this word coming to teach us? And Rashi HaKadosh says 3 words about the word vayatar. What are the 3 words? Says Rashi, hirba vehiftzir b'tfilah. Hirba vehiftzir. He prayed a lot. Hirba vehiftzir, yani forced Borei Olam to accept the tefillah. Now hold on a minute. Yitzhak Avinu needs to force HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What do you mean that Yitzhak was forcing? How do you force Borei Olam? So I think that the Perush is the following. We see over here a very important concept when it comes to our requests. Very important concept. And I think I told you this in the past. The Stipler was the father of Rav Chaim Kanievsky. And the Stipler, once a guy came over to the rabbi with a problem about his son. And he told him, Rabbi, I have this and this issue. My son is this and this, and he's not learning properly, and he's not acting properly. And he's already not young anymore. He's already in his late 20s. What should I do? So the rabbi said, are you praying? Of course I pray. How much you praying? How much I pray? I don't know. Every day I mention his name. Every day I mention his name. Every day I pray for my son. Reb Chaim says to this guy, do you know that until today I still pray for my Chaim to be a Talmid Chacham? Now that was when the stamper was already the last years of his life. Reb Chaim Kanievsky was already a Gaon Ador. He knew the whole entire Torah. He was learning day and night in the Kollel Chazon Ish. And the stipler was praying every single day about his son, Chaim, that he will become Talmid Chacham. Rabotai, Vayatar means that Yitzhak Avinu Iftzid. We're learning from here a Yesod, the concept so important in Avodat Hashem. You want something? Beg your life out. You want something? Go out and beg and ask and re-ask and don't stop asking. Why? I'm going to tell you something fascinating that I saw. There is a story, famous story in the Navi about Elisha. Elisha was the student of Eliyahu Navi. Elisha, one day, he used to go travel to certain cities to teach Torah. And one day he get to a certain city, and we know that there was a couple over there. And the lady said to her husband, not the story, the second story. The second story that appears in the Navi was about Elisha. There was a lady that unfortunately she lost her husband. She lost her husband. And she didn't have enough food and money to give to her kids. She was renting the apartment. And the landlord came to collect the money and she didn't have any money. She didn't have any money. What happened was that the landlord decided to put a deadline. If you're not paying until this date, I'm taking your kids. She went to the Navi to beg, please help me out. And the Navi asked her, what do you have at home? Do you have something? She said, absolutely nothing. A little bit of shemen, a little bit of oil. Kim asuch shemen. Do you know what's asuch? What's asuch? It's the amount of oil to dip a pinky. That's asuch shemen. That's all what I have. That's all what she had at home. Now listen to this. We all know the story. What happened was that Elisha told her, go and ask from your neighbors all type of jars and bring them home and tell your son to pass you jar per jar, and you're going to be filling up those jars without a little bit of oil that you have. And the miracle was that she fell one jar and another one, tons of jars. At the end of it, she was able to pay the landlord and she had extra to leave. That was the story. But there is behind the story, behind the scenes. Who was his wife? Who was his woman? Her husband was the tzaddik, was also a Navi. Her husband, he was taking care at the days of Eliyahu Navi with Ahav and his wife, both Rashaim. He was taking care to feed all the Talmidei Chachamim and the Nevi'im that were needed to run away from the wife of Ahav, from Izebel. He was feeding them. Rabotai was caught. Mechila. He was feeding them. He had money. He had a lot of money, but he wasted all this money to feed the Nevi'im. You know what the Navi says? He getting to a point that he didn't have enough money, but the Nevi'im are hungry. What did he do? He asked loans with interest. That's Isur Deoraita. But whenever you have Pikuach Nefesh, Tochet Kol HaTorah Kula. He asked loans with interest. From whom? From this landlord. And then he died because he didn't have enough and it was too much pressure and he died. And this almanah is with her kids and she goes to the grave of her husband and she begs and she prays non-stop. And then finally she goes back home, and I think it was a dream that she had. Go to Elisha, he will solve your problems. Rabotai, can I ask you a question? Why in the world Borei Olam has to do this type of suffering to the poor lady? Why Borei Olam needed the lady to go to pray, to beg in the kever of her husband? Why? Make it easy. Make it easy. Give to Elisha, tell Elisha, go right now, right away, go to the house of this lady and help her out. You know what's the so unbelievable what I'm about to tell you? Chazal is saying that at that moment there was a gzera against Am Yisrael, gzeret kirya, to destroy Am Yisrael. There's a whole reason, I'm not going to get into it right now. When this woman, she prayed, Borei Olam asked her already at the first time her tefillot. But Borei Olam needed her tefillot to avoid the gzera to come down on Am Yisrael. It's the same exact message over here. When you want something, beg. But I prayed already and I was not answered. Continue begging. Even Yitzhak Avinu, to be able to get a child. Yitzhak needs zechuyot. Yitzhak needs special things. He's already olat mima. It's not enough the Akedat Yitzhak that he did. The answer is Borei Olam wants our prayers. It's not a punishment. It's the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like Rashi also brings, the Borei Olam mitavel et tfilatam shel tzadikim. So whenever there is a situation that you need something and you pray and it seems that you're not getting answered, don't stop praying. Because you never know every single prayer what an impact this goes into the world. How many people you can save. I just want to finish with this. I used to have a friend. We learned together in Mir Yeshiva in Brooklyn. Very good friend of mine. And I think I told you this story. One day, we were walking in Ocean Parkway. And there was a Hatzalah ambulance passing by. Something unfortunately common. You see ambulance all the time. So then I see my friend talking. So what are you saying? What are you saying? So I'm saying Tehillim. So wow. Okay, Chazak, I never thought about this. Every time that you see an ambulance, you say Tehillim? He said, yes. Every time that I see an ambulance, I say Tehillim. I said, but why? He said, listen to this. He says, I learned this because of a story that I experienced by somebody that I heard directly. He said, there was this lady, a lady, that she had this type of concept to say Tehillim every time that there was an ambulance passing by. One day, the lady gets a phone call. And in that phone call, there is an old lady in the other side of the call, of the line, saying to her, please, are you so-and-so? She says, yes. How can I help you? He says, please, if you don't mind, come over to me. I want to tell you something very important. Okay? She gave her the address. She goes to the old lady. She enters to the house. And the old lady, I'm going to go straight to the grain, to the point, says to this young woman, I owe you my life. You saved my life. So I saved your life. I never saw you in my life before. I don't know who you are. So you saved my life. A week ago, I was walking in the street and I had a car accident. A car crashed, went straight on me. I was sent to ambulance or emergency room and my situation was very bad. I felt that I'm out, that I'm dead. And then I saw a sudden vision of a lady in a car saying Tehillim. Meanwhile, I was in bed. I was about to die. I saw this face and that face get engraved on me. When I woke up, I was looking around. According to all the signs that I said, they told me maybe it's this woman. You were the one who recited Tehillim that day, this day in the car? She was about to faint. Rabotai, we have no idea. Every single tefillah that you do, every single chapter of Tehillim that you say, you have no idea what an impact they can cause. Whenever you get a name on your phone, please pray for this and this. Take a half a minute. It's not more than that. Say a Tehillim. When you need something and you pray, don't stop praying. Because Borei Olam needs our tefillot, and if it's not for you, it will be for the rest of Am Yisrael. At the end of the day, you will see the results of your tefillot. At the end of the day, you will see how your tefillot gave an impact, and B'ezrat Hashem will get only besorot tovot. Amen. Keni Ratzon. Rabbi Yochanan ben Akashya omer, Atzar Kadosh Baruch Hu lezachot et Yisrael lefichach.